Welcome to the LandLife podcast with your host, PJ Riley.
Hey guys, welcome to the LandLife podcast. Hey guys, before we get started, don't forget, please like, subscribe, leave 5 stars. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast or watch a cool video, you can find us. Guys, today we have the biggest, strongest guest I've ever had on this podcast. And I've had quite some big, strong dudes, some scary guys. But right now I have Lynn Morehouse. He is the promoter at the official Strongman games. Is that correct?
That is.
Perfect. And owner at Train Strongman. Guys, I've seen videos of Lynn getting inside of vehicles and carrying them through his backyard. So he's got a super interesting story to tell. So Lynn, let's give us let us know how you got started, kind of what got you started and what got you to this point.
Well, all right. Yeah. Happy to be on, by the way, PJ.
Yeah.
So, the Strongman journey has been kind of an interesting one for me because as I'm finding out now with my kids living in North Carolina, most kids grow up with sports that are either embedded because they played them or they're embedded because their parents or their university or anything like that. But I was born and raised in Alaska, and there really wasn't any sport indoctrination, if you will. Yeah. And so I never had that. And in around 2005, 2006, I kind of found out that Strongman had weight classes. I'd watched Strongman, it's the Christmas staple forever. And I always loved that. And it kind of fit my perception of strength. I always had, challenging my older brother to who can carry the most firewood, that kind of thing. And so in 2006, I kind of had this desk job fat situation, but I knew I was strong. And so I competed for the first time. And, that sort of just fueled a little bit of an addiction over the years. And in 2013, I had just won a local contest. And I remember distinctly sort of looking around, on the podium kind of situation, and just realizing that I could never really share this with my family. It would be embarrassing, Yes, my wife, she would put up with it. My kids would put up with it, but no one else would sit out, behind a gym in the back alley for 8 hours in the hot sun to watch, 25 guys do this thing. And so in 2013, I said, you know what, I really want to bring that World's Strongest Man experience to the weight classes, to women, weight classes, basically to everyone else, and just raise the tides for strongman in general. And 9 years later, we're promoting the official Strongman Games again for its 5th year, and it is the World's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Woman title for every weight class and age division outside of heavyweight men. And then the heavyweight men, it's the direct path to Giants Life, which is how you get to World's Strongest Man. So wow. that vision is 100% a reality right now. Not only am I bringing the World's Strongest Men experience, but I'm also delivering the World's Strongest title to those divisions.
Wow. So like World's Strongest Man. So I've seen it on TV. Is the 175-pound guy doing the same lifts obviously at scale that the heavyweights that we see on TV are doing?
And the reality is, yes, that's the goal. So what I had experienced was, well, the big guys can get the really cool stuff because, they only have one set of that, like the anchor or something, well, it's 600 pounds. or the car. Well, the car is 1,000 pounds. That's as good as it can get. And what I've really shown in 2021, I was able to create 4 identical Volkswagen Beetles that the athletes were able to carry. And I was able to get them empty down to 570 pounds. For the women's division, the lightweight ladies were 140 pounds. So it's still immensely heavy.
Yeah.
But I was able to deliver an experience where literally every single division was able to have the same experience of lifting a car. And, I try to hold that standard into everything that you do, where maybe something else, is a little bit more visually interesting because of its size, but there's a version going down to be able to accommodate the different weight classes. So it really is the same type of events. You're deadlifting cars, you're carrying cars, you're doing the wagon wheels. Maybe the wheels are bigger for the heavyweight men, but you're still doing that fixed axle for the women as well. And that's really something that I fight hard to keep consistent.
So if you're a 140-pound woman listening, you want to get to where you can carry a car in competition, contact Lynn and he will help you no matter what your size. So what are the age divisions like? Do we have kids involved in this? How young can you be to get involved? I know there's a lot of kids. When I go to the gym, there's just kids lifting pretty significantly heavy weights, high school kids. How young can you be to compete in your competition?
Well, the official Strongman Games right now is got a Masters division, so over 40, Masters 50 plus, over 50, and then everyone else it's any age. That being said, Strongman itself, I remember the very first contest I promoted, I have an 11-year-old boy that competed. His mom was there. She signed the waiver. He was the most fun to watch of anyone. And the reality is there are teen divisions. There's also juniors internationally as a separate division. There's a lot of opportunity for people to get into it. It's just not known enough yet.
Yeah.
And that's something else that I'm trying to, resolve. Everyone, I still run into situations where people I work with for 10 years will go and say, you do that Ironman thing. I was like, very different.
Swimming, biking, and picking up cars.
A very different skill set. So, starting with the kids will really help that.
Okay. Yeah. Starting at that younger age, and they grow up and they can show their friends that, they're competing in this strongman thing that's out there. So let's say, you're a guy, you've been at the office, you're starting to gain some weight and you're like, man, I watched that on TV. I want to be like Lynn. I want to be a strongman. How does somebody get started? Like, where do you don't go to the local, I don't know, you don't go to the mall and sign up. Like, where does somebody sign up to be a strongman?
Oh, you got to know where to look. We're still not at local malls yet. But the number of gyms that actually have a good strongman training group is growing. You'll find that at a lot of the powerlifting gyms or CrossFit gyms, you'll notice a small little corner where there's some really crazy equipment, and you'll find out that there's a group of people training on the weekend together. And that's really your best start into it. I wouldn't recommend the journey I had where, it was, I want a tire, and so you spend 2 months trying to find out where can I get a tire. And then you tell a buddy at work, hey, you want to come with me to a tire recycling yard and pick out a tire? And then there's probably 2 years of me just flipping a tire outside my office at work on lunch break, just to see who's interested in the area.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward a few years, you got like 17 people coming over on the weekends to your house just to train. So
everyone wants to flip a tire.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. I got noticed.
I can imagine. Yeah. Being in outside the office, flipping tires will cause people to look over at you. So I want to shift gears just a little bit to the business side of this. So what is in every business, you have to be prepared. What does preparation look like when you want to be a promoter for Strongman? How do you prepare for something like that?
Well, one of the big challenges with Strongman is the equipment. Most of the equipment isn't all that scalable. You can run a good CrossFit gym or even a CrossFit competition with just a few bars and a whole bunch of plate weight. The back of a pickup truck can be your transport. Strongman, it requires a different kind of venue. That's why it originally started where it was in, anywhere that's flat concrete or asphalt. Give me a field so that I can't damage things. The equipment itself it will damage, a gymnasium floor. So you can't really go and do that kind of thing. So one of the first things you have to recognize is, where am I going to host this? And what type of equipment? I know the very first contest I ran, I got so much interest that I realized for me to be able to run this contest in a day, which is still a long day, I needed to be able to have more equipment so that I could run multiple lanes at once. Otherwise, it just was going to be too long. And so, where do you get that equipment? Where's a good venue where you're not going to roast everyone out in the hot sun, but you're also not going to damage some floor and lose a bunch of money on the venue afterwards. And then, of course, how do you get all that stuff there? Yeah. You can absolutely overload a 26-foot U-Haul's weight rating without even blinking an eye.
Yeah. Well, the objective is weight, right? So, I mean, that's the objective of the entire thing. So you're going to get over that weight limit pretty quick. So financially, I mean, do you go in there with all your own money? Are you funding everything? Are you buying those cars, cleaning them out yourself, making them 500 pounds or whatever the weight is necessary? Are you doing all that yourself and then funding all of it yourself as well?
Well, this is still the beginning. I'm 9 years into promoting, but I still consider it the beginning. So yes, you're investing back into the business each and every year. I try to do at least one new cool event every single year. And so, for example, the cars was a massive expense and months of working with the local fabricator to be able to, get a prototype and then be able to replicate, because they have to be the same. It's cool to watch, but it's also a sport. And so being fair, having it identical actually matters. So unfortunately, I fall more into that whole artist versus businessman side of entrepreneur, where I got into it because I felt like I could do something better. I didn't get into it because I saw a really great business opportunity. Yeah. I'm still hoping for that, but that's actually not top of mind. Top of mind is still, I need to deliver the world's strongest man experience. And maybe I'm doing that with the caliber of athlete, the quality of venue and equipment, but I'm still not taking care of them, like being able to pay for their travel, hotel, have it televised. It's live streamed, but it's not televised. So job's not done yet. So I'm focusing still on how do I make it better? How do I reinvest to, make it better year after year?
So you're sacrificing your time, your labor. You're doing this all for the athletes. Like you're doing this for other people. You're building a program that they can showcase their skills and they can experience kind of the excitement that you had with Strongman. And you're doing it for them. Would be correct? I mean, I don't want to say you're the good guy. You're. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but is that correct?
It is. The reality is, I still have a full-time job. I end up using, money of my own. I use up pretty much all of my vacation time towards Strongman. But I tell people Strongman changed my life. And through it, I've been able to affect, in a very small circle of people directly, their lives. And now worldwide, I hear stories every single day where, if it wasn't for that, the weight classes having a world's strongest title, people would think that heavyweight, they have to gain weight, otherwise there's no point, or that, there really isn't any opportunity in the sport. And a lot of us in the strongman community are in this sport because it was a calling. It fit us. It's not like we would jump over and be like, oh yeah, well, football, basketball, soccer, CrossFit, those are fine too. No, it's strongman is who I am. And now there's an outlet for you to be able to go and really compete and feel like a strong man, and have something where you can send a link to your family and they can watch and cheer you on. And that kind of goes back to that 2013 moment where I was like, no one is going to care about this. Now they can.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I don't want to gloss over the fact that you're doing this for them. And this is huge. That's a big deal for a kid that's, say, 16 and he really wants to be a strongman and he has no other venue to do it. But then all of a sudden Lynn shows up and starts providing this for these people. I mean, they could be a 16-year-old kid or a 50-year-old guy that has always wanted to do it, but he's like, dude, I weigh 150 pounds. I can't be part of this. So that's kudos to you, man. That's awesome, dude. That's like that's something you don't hear a lot. A lot of people are in business and they make a lot of money and it works really well, but they don't necessarily do it for other people. You are absolutely, it is very clear you're doing this for other people. And it's very admirable. So, kudos to you. I want to ask though, as far as like rapport with other like vendors, how often are you contacting other people, other gyms, other like venues, maybe weight companies, like, I don't know, whoever makes weight plates, I don't know. But, those kind of people, how often are you in contact with people like that?
You wouldn't believe how much, cold calling and those old school sales stuff goes into it. It's entrepreneurship. I am on, the ground floor trying to meet up with people. I've been able to establish some really excellent relationships that maintained over the 9 years. You mentioned weight plates. I got a relationship with the owner of High Temp Weights, and he's supported me for 9 years. I've got a great relationship with SBD that makes supportive gear for the athletes. We're always looking at what are good sponsorships for the athletes. And the important thing for me is not having a business just to have some dollars come my way. I really want to have a business that they're going to get some value because the audience is the same, but also the athletes and the fans are going to say, oh, they're here? That's great. I don't have to order online. I'll just wait and pick it up right there during the event. So it's important to go and not just look for the money, but look for the synergy between this is a business who is also supporting Strongman, the sport. How can I go and give them the ability to interface not just with the heavyweight men, but with literally the entire Strongman community, from the heavyweight all the way to the lightweight, to the masters who've been in the game for 20 years, to the women. Everyone is going to be at one place at the same time. It's more of a festival rather than a single competition.
Okay. So, I think a lot of people will be thinking right now, I want to be strong. I mean, that'd be really cool. I want to lift heavy stuff or at least see if I can, where, like, how many competitions are out there? Like, is there, an annual competition? Are there quarterly competitions, and where are they at?
Well, Strongman's international, and frankly, it's bigger in Europe than it is in the United States. There's literally hundreds, if not possibly in the low thousands of competitions throughout the year. We now have partnered with most countries, their strongest. So you've got, Germany's strongest woman. They're sending their athletes to the official Strongman Games. We've got multiple contests within the United Kingdom where we're hitting Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England, and within the United States, there's actually, where I started, there are local federations that provide competitions, not necessarily any different than in what it was when I initially started. Some of the competitions are just, at a gym or in a park, that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with that. Certainly a way to get started, all the way up to a system that has local shows up to regionals, up to nationals, and so on and so forth. And there's actually 3 regional contests in the United States that directly invite to worlds.
Wow. So you could show up to a competition and work your way all the way up as high as it possibly goes.
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm going to be at World's Strongest Man in May, helping out there. And it's wonderful because I can actually see, half a dozen athletes that have made it to their dream of being that World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And the pathway was my event. And I know that, they start at the local scene, and you get invited and you make it to Worlds, you podium at Worlds, then you go to, the path actually exists now, where if you are that kid who sees something on TV and you're like, one day I want to be there. It used to be, how do you get there? Is it just an invite? Is it a good old boys club? What is this? No, there's actually a path that you can take that's been proven. And I just love that.
Yeah. And, I think it's super important. So you said when you first were competing and you get on stage and, maybe no one ever else sees this, no one can really be a part of this, but being honest, being in a competition, regardless of how you place, if you get first, second, third, no one can take that away from you. When you really get that, when you really achieve the goal you set out to achieve, no one can take that away from you. That's something that's locked in for life. That's absolutely, it never goes away. Even as a young athlete, I remember things that I did that it's never going away. You can take the trophy and it can break something, or, but the fact that you started something and you achieved that goal, that's never, ever going away. And that will roll into every aspect of your life. So
absolutely. And it's even more so when you've got the world's strongest title. It was a really cool day for me when I realized that Wikipedia was updating athletes' competition records with my event. And, if you were the world's strongest in your weight class in 1 year, you are immortalized, because this is a running tally that will continue on indefinitely. So, nothing to take away from local contests. I always kind of, I promoted North Carolina's strongest man and woman. And I love that because, there's a certain amount of cachet to that. Yeah. And so no matter what the level is, you take pride in it, but it is something a little bit special when you can say, for this period in time, I was in the top 10, or I was world's strongest for my division.
And it's something you will tell people forever. Or you could tell them. And if you don't even say it out loud, it's something you've done. You've been in the top 10. You got that trophy. You did something. So you said you're talking about being proud of things. What is the thing you're most proud of then in all this?
Ooh, gosh, I'll be honest. The relationships. For me, this all started with sort of a change for me, and then it morphed into what I can do for others, and seeing that change. I have been happier watching people carry the cars that I spent 6 months having built and working with the guy than I was picking it up myself. It absolutely does. It dwarfs in comparison. So I am most proud of the relationships I've built internationally, where these are athletes that are reaching out to me on a frequent basis. We're traveling. I'm taking my family to Norway because we've got athletes in Norway that are also promoting a large strength festival, and they would love for me to be there for just my feedback, tips and tricks, but also they are experiencing, they want to share what they have done. No strings attached. It's just, no, 100%. The relationships that I've created and been able to maintain over the years, hands down, what I'm most proud of.
Wow. So dude, you have gone from in 2006, sitting in an office chair, not being happy with your fitness, to today meeting people in the world's strongest man. And it was all just by making a jump. You just decided to do it one day. You're just like, I want to change this situation. I see a problem. I want to fix it. And you did. And now you're at the highest level of strongman. Kids, family, are you developing the next Thor?
I've got 2 daughters.
Right. Good for you, man. I got 3.
They are immensely strong for their size.
Awesome.
But they are also very jaded about strength. I am an average size human in their world. So 6'2", 250 is totally average. So I can only pray for the boys that are coming down the line for them in the future, because there's some really high standards.
I can imagine. So I got to ask you, recently there was a boxing match.
Oh gosh.
Between Eddie Hall and Thor. I mean, I'm a big fight fan, so it's one of the things I had to watch. What's your take on that? The whole hype around it, the boxing match itself, and the future of giant human beings punching each other on TV?
Well, I got to admit that the delay that was the cause from the pandemic and Eddie having an injury certainly made it drag out a little longer, and I think that lost some of its luster and some of its intrigue. That being said, I think it was really cool to have athletes be able to branch out, do different things. It's neat to see strongmen that after they are done with their strongman career, they have now moved on to boxing, arm wrestling, bodybuilding, really just about anything. It shows that strongman is a great base that you can go and push on to other things. No one would have thought those guys would last 6 rounds.
Yeah, me being one of them.
Their weight.
Me being one of them. And they fought hard for 6 rounds. They got tired, don't get me wrong, but that was pretty impressive for guys their size and for their life of building gigantic muscles that require so much oxygen to use, especially in a boxing ring. Guys, if you're not familiar with the boxing match, real quick though, it was Thor, the Mountain from, what was the TV show? What's that? Game of Thrones. The Mountain from Game of Thrones fought a boxing match against another powerlifter, this huge, gigantic beast, Eddie Hall.
You would call it better saying 2017's World's Strongest Man versus 2018's World's Strongest Man.
See, that's the stuff that I didn't know.
The reality is, I'm not a boxing fan. It was a novelty for me. I would have much rather seen them go head to head in some sort of strongman event. But I think the fact that event, that match, reached a wider audience, and if we can continue to reinforce that these aren't just big humans, these are strong men, then that has a lasting positive benefit for the sport overall.
Absolutely. Lynn, so we got to wrap it up a little bit here, but I just want to make it very clear. Lynn Morehouse is an awesome guy, and he's doing a lot of things for a lot of people out there. Guys, if you want to do strongman, you want to be involved, you've got to contact Lynn first. Lynn, how do they get in contact with you?
Well, the official Strongman Games on Instagram, strongman.games on the web. And then, of course, for me, not too many Lynn Morehouses that are a guy. So normally a search for that shows up. So I'm pretty easy to find.
If you want to look him up on YouTube, he's got tons of videos of him picking up and putting down super heavy things, significantly heavier than I lift. So kudos to you on that as well. Lynn, the big question I ask at the end of every podcast, the final question. We are LandLife. We buy and sell land, buy and sell land all over the country. So my question to you is, if you could buy land anywhere in the entire world, where would it be and why?
I have to admit that's a very challenging question because one of the things you're saying is land, not necessarily a home or anything. And that kind
You
of,
can build a home on it.
yeah, but a lot of times people will think about the home first, not the land first.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of people won't realize that the property I'm on, I've planted over 100 fruit trees and whatnot in North Carolina. So I do have an interest in land. And the tricky thing would be, I would want to find some type of land that had a waterfall into a river, into a beach, and, condense North Carolina that I live in into 20 acres. And that would be perfect, so that I could go up into the mountains and enjoy the waterfall with a little cabin, but also make the wife and daughters happy by, sitting by the beach in the sun.
Man, a waterfall leading into a river, leading into a beach. Yeah, that's covered a lot of things. Okay, well, I'll start looking for that. ASAP. If I can find that, Lynn, I'll let you know. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for the LandLife podcast. Don't forget, like, subscribe, leave 5 stars on every platform you possibly can. Another thing too that I forgot to say the past few is, guys, if you have apparel, some cool apparel you want me to wear and show off and advertise for you, just let me know. Send me a shirt. I'll send you a LandLife shirt, and we can kind of help each other out. Guys, follow powerlifting, strongman, follow everything that Lynn Morehouse does. He's an awesome guy. And until the next time, thanks for joining us here on LandLife.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.